Hi there, this is Jim McCall, Training Manager for Algie. I just wanted to go through the Barlume today, the Elektra Barlume 2009 and beyond model, and look at how we program that because it can be a bit tricky. This is the Elektra Barlume 2009 model, and we're going to look at setting the brew volumes for each of the three brew groups. First thing I'm going to do is switch the machine on, and you will see immediately that it starts to warm up. You can see that by the flashing LEDs running right across the front of the machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to program the cup levels for each of the three groups in the Barlume, and we'll put in the key for programming, press it a little bit, turn it to the right, a quarter turn, come back to the first group. In there you'll find always in the first group it tells you the symbol that you're actually working on. That symbol there, flash on, is telling you that you're in programming. We want to program the first group button, single, so we'll press the plus button once, twice, move to the middle group, and we press that 3 times. That then gives us a slow flashing light underneath the single. We want now to set a volume for the single. You would of course have your portafilter ready with coffee, throw weight, etc. and the proper brew time. We will just set a representation here of count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We now move on to the double, and to get the double to flash slowly, we press the mid button again once. That's us now into the double. We can now set the double. You would of course have the proper portafilter with throw weight and time setting, but we're going to use a representation here of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We now move to a different symbol. That symbol is now talking and telling me that we have to go and set the multi-factor for the first 2 buttons. This is a sheet taken from Algie Training Manual. It's sheet 12 of 15. In it you'll find a number of symbols. The symbols relate here to the group head multiplication factor symbol. Down here in this box shows you the symbols which tell you which multiplication factor you are in fact setting against any one of these particular group heads. Now, what we're talking about here is whatever we've set in here as 5 as it was and 10 in here, we now want to transfer that to these 2 buttons, but we want to multiply it up so we've got a double single and a double double. And the multiplication factor Algie use is 1.8. So we have to now set a multiplication factor of 1.8. The value of any of the programming requirements is always in the middle set of keys and buttons. Okay, so what we've got here is a value of 1.5. We want 1.8, so we have to find the plus button. There it's there. If you use the minus button, it won't go below 1.5. But if we hit the plus button once, twice, 3 times, it moves us up into 1.8, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. You can go further, going up to 2.5, but we'll want 1.8, and that's what we'll save it as. If we go back to the first group again, you see that the symbol has changed. It wants us to do the night cycle. We don't do the night cycle for Algie, so we'll just simply turn the program key, and that's all the information that we've created, all our data for the setting of the first group, all locked in. Now what we want to do now is we want to put the programming key back in and go and do the second group. So to get to the second group, we have to press this plus button once, twice, the mid button once. That's all 5 LEDs lit. Once we see that, we can then move the LEDs over to the second group by pressing the plus button. We now see that it's the second group that's got all the LEDs lit above the keys. The first group no longer has that. And we now press the mid button again, once, twice, to bring on the slow flashing for the first single in the second group. And we'll count to 5 as a representation of the volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Moves to the double, press the mid button again once, and we see the slow flashing for the double. We'll do a representation count of 10 for the volume of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we see we've moved symbol again. What we'll do is we'll go back to the first group and see what that symbol is. And of course that symbol is the multiplication factor for group 2. So if we go back to the middle group, that will tell us what the value for that is at the moment. And what we've got in there is a value of 1.5 again. So we're going to press the plus button 1, 2, 3 times. That's up to 1.8. We could go up to 2.5. But we'll go back down to 1.8 again. And that's the symbol on, off. Press the mid button to save it. Must do that. And then we come back to the first group of buttons again because we've changed symbol. And the symbol tells us now that it's the night cycle. We're not doing the night cycle, so we simply turn the programming off, turning it back on again because we want now to do the third group. So to get to the third group, we press the plus button again twice, the mid button once again, gives us the 5 LEDs lit up. We now have to get those 5 LEDs up to the third group, press the plus button once, plus button twice on the third group. We can now see that the LEDs are off in groups 1 and 2, but if we go up to the third group, all the LEDs are on. Okay, so now we press the mid button, and that then gives us another press to get the slow flashing symbol going. And we count to 5 as a representation of the volume for a single. 2, 3, 4, 5. Press the mid button again, press the slow flashing double, and count to 10 as a representation. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see all the LEDs are off. That's now complete. We go back to the first group again, and we see we've got a different symbol now. And this symbol, on, on, is the symbol for the multi-factor for the third group. Now if we go into the middle group again, that will tell you what value that is. And right now it's on, off, on, and that tells me we've got a value of 2.5. That's the highest it can go if I hit the plus button. Can't go any higher. Press the minus button, 2.4, 2.3, 2.2, 2.1, 2, 1.9, 1.8. That is 1.8, on, off. Press the mid button, save it, and we go back to the first group again because the symbol's changed. We're back to the night cycle. We don't do the night cycle. We've done all the 3 groups and set all the cut volumes for those 3 groups, including their multiplication factors. We can now switch the programming off